This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
You are listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, Lions Audio Network. Tonight coming to you from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey, 1626 152nd Street, 16th Avenue and 152nd. If you're familiar with the area, you remember the old Sawbucks? Well, it's been rebranded into an absolutely gorgeous place, the Highwayman in Surrey. And we thank everybody for having us here. Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, here with me tonight as we look ahead to a Western semifinal. We'll look back to a 27-3 victory over the Montreal Alouettes. Our guest tonight, by the way, will be Lions President Dwayne Vienneau. We'll talk to him about the season and obviously the Grey Cup coming up. But, gentlemen, let's start with the 27-3 victory over the Montreal Alouettes. Matt Baker, your thoughts?
Yes, a much-needed result, I think, heading into the playoffs. So we talked last week about how this game might not mean anything in the standings, and we were talking about Vernon Adams Jr. making his return in a starting role. Anyway, his first start since August 1st. Nice, clean game offensively. Don't think there was a couple of miscues, couple of turnovers, left even more points out on the field, but the defense, great to see the defense get back to that playoff-type level they have to play at. I was very encouraged, and I think you talked to a couple of the players after as well. It's nothing against Nathan Rourke, but good to have Vernon Adams Jr. come back in and play at that level. I think it was a much-needed result for this team heading into a bye week and the Western semifinal, which is next week, as you said.
Nick Kowalski.
Yeah, Vernon Adams Jr., it's what you got to talk about, right? Right from the get-go, that 43-yard pass to Justin McInnis getting it started, punching it in the end zone. And to me, this is something I've really been keen on this week, but it just looked like the receivers and the whole offense was having a lot more fun out there. They had that choreographed first down celebration that Vernon talked about, getting the offense together and telling them, like, hey, guys, like, we're known for having fun. We're known for celebrating. When we make plays, they earn the right to celebrate, and they definitely earn the right to celebrate on Saturday there. So it was great seeing Keon Hatch go over 100 yards. He's kind of hitting his prime. He's kind of been Mr. November these last two playoffs too, so that's great to see Keon hitting full stride. That stat I brought up last week with the Alex Hollins and the big play, the Lions are now 6-2 when he makes a 20-yard catch or greater than a 20-yard catch. They're 2-5 when he doesn't. So that's key to me, unlocking Hollins, unlocking Berryhill downfield.
Well, I look at that game, and you're right, the energy level. And you saw it during the week of practice. I mean, I remember going out to practice, I think it was Wednesday, and just the vocality, on both sides of the ball, right? Defense was fired up. They were making plays. Offense, it was just going back and forth, and I was like, okay, they got a little juice here. But, practice is one thing. Carrying it over to a game is another. And it's kind of funny. Julio, of course, Caravetta was being inducted in the BC Football Hall of Fame, so he didn't make the pregame show, so I did the keys to the West Coast Auto Group keys to the game. And I pretty much I gave a bonus key, so I had like 4 keys, which I pretty much nailed, right? Except the first key, I was like way off. My first key was, okay, they got to build up Vernon Adams Jr.'s confidence up because he hasn't played, like Bake mentioned, since August 1st. Try to get him going with some hitch screens, some real short passes, some intermediate passes. Try not to push the ball downfield. Just try to get him feeling comfortable. So what happens in the very first drive? Boom, 43 yards to Justin McInnis or whatever it was, right? I'm just like, okay, so much for that key. But, in hearing what Vernon talked about afterwards, they expected that. They expected Noel Thorpe, the defensive coordinator of the Alouettes, to bring the heat, to come with some cover zero packages, and they responded. And Vernon, talk about answering the bell. He did on that very first drive.
This is one take that was really bothering me post-game is people saying, oh, Montreal had nothing to play for. They're in first place. Tell Jason Moss that. Tell Tyrese Beverette that. They were playing all game. That Justin McInnis catch on the first play of the game, that's against Marc-Antoine Duquad. Do you think he was not trying his hardest because Montreal got first place?
Yeah, that's just low-hanging fruit for people.
This game meant nothing to the Lions, too. They were stuck in third place. It goes both ways. So that's something that bothered me.
The other thing, too, is the defensive effort. Lost in all of the talk about Vernon Adams Jr. was just how well the defense played. And, that was one of my keys to the game was the fact that, rally to the football. Play defense with some energy. Play with some passion. And you saw it in that game. You saw, quarterback sacks. You saw big plays, and particularly when they had the ball down within the goal line. They were within the 5-yard line on 3 separate occasions. They only came out with a field goal, right? That was it. They had a turnover on downs one time. They had the field goal, and the other time the Lions recovered a fumble. I think it was Covington that came up with it. So 3 trips within the 5, and they come up with a field goal. So to me, that was a big story in the game as well, was how well the defense played. And, again, we talk about complementary football, fellas, and that's it. When the offense is out there and they're playing well, defense is now going to get fired up. When you're not playing complementary football and your other unit is, misfiring, all of a sudden you feel like you've got all this pressure on you to go out there and get the job done. If the offense isn't performing and they're not putting points on the board, as a defense you feel like you got to pitch a shutout, right? Conversely, if your defense goes out there and is giving up touchdown drive after touchdown drive or scoring drive after scoring drive, you feel like as an offense you've got to go out there and score points every single time. And that's what the Lions did a really good job of on Saturday, was complementary football.
I want to go back to that fumble recovery. As of right now, I think Haladic forced it.
Yep.
There's someone else might be wanting a bit of credit for it too, but we're waiting for the stats man to review it. Anyway, score was 24-0 at that point. I think there was something like 7 or 8 minutes left. It'd be easy for a defense to kind of, get complacent. But they approached that like the game was on the line, and they made the play.
Well, no, they approached it because there was a shutout on the line, right? I mean, that's the big thing.
But that's what you like to see.
Yeah, when you have a defense that's out there pitching a shutout or hasn't given up a touchdown, I don't care if it's the first game of the season, the last game of the season, or midway through the season, you do not want them in your house. You do not want them to score a touchdown. It's a sense of pride. And the Lions came up with played with some pride there.
And Nicky here was talking about getting his Donut Boys shirt out before that. So
I jump the gun sometimes, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Those age really well. Another underrated element this entire season, I've been trying to find a useful time to pick this or point this out, but the Lions take 3 penalties for 14 yards in this game. That's been something all season. You've seen this Lions team keep it together. There's been a 5-game losing streak. There's been all this drama, with the quarterback situation, obviously, but this Lions team, and I think that speaks a lot to Rick Campbell's leadership, 2nd in the league in penalties, 2nd in the league in yards. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to throw this other team out. There's another team out east that's kind of crumbling in Ottawa. They're taking 3 more penalties a game. They're taking 30 more yards in penalties a game. That's a huge difference, and I think you're seeing that.
It's funny because when I talked about this team, comparing it to last year, and, everyone was talking about the offensive line and the defensive line, and they got to do this, they got to do that. I said, to me, there's a couple of keys for the Lions this year. And number one, they got to clean up their penalties, they got to clean up their turnovers. And last year, if you recall, penalties, BC was in the bottom third. If they were like maybe 8th, I think. And here they are this year, the 2nd least penalized team in the league. The other thing, turnovers, okay, like that, of course, isn't probably where you want it to be. You probably want to have that ratio a little bit more higher on the plus side. But in terms of penalties, you're right, Nick, and that's a great point. This Lions team has really kind of cleaned up their act this year. As we continue, this is, of course, Lions on Tap, coming to you from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey. Playoffs. Somebody say playoffs?
Playoffs.
Lions are in 3rd. Of course, the scenario for this weekend, for those that don't know, is that the early game on Saturday will have Winnipeg at Montreal. If Winnipeg wins that game, they clinch first place, no matter what happens between Saskatchewan and Calgary following that game at 4 o'clock. I think the Winnipeg game's at noon.
Correct.
So if Winnipeg wins that game, they are in first place. They've clinched first. BC will travel to Regina to take on the Riders on November the 2nd. However, if Winnipeg loses and Saskatchewan beats Calgary, and in related news, the Pope is Catholic, if Saskatchewan beats Calgary, Saskatchewan finishes in first, BC will travel to Winnipeg for the semifinal.
Who would have thought that scenario?
I've got a thought on this, but I'll ask you guys. Preferred scenario?
Oh, well.
You want me to go first?
I'll go back to Regina and then go back to Winnipeg when it's all on the line. Why not?
All right.
I don't think anybody gives out like freezing cold takes or old takes exposed on me. But
you want to go to Winnipeg because that's where your family's from.
He wants to go
right? So
for
just
home
there
cooking.
you go. You
Yes.
want to see your mom.
Go hang out with Willow, the dog. Your dog.
Let me finish.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Give me Winnipeg because I want to slay the dragon. I think if this.
Oh
team-
no!
Yes.
No! You're taking it right out of my mouth. Okay,
Yeah.
I used that line in my story that I did.
I
all
think
right.
there's a famous Vancouver slay the dragon.
Well, yeah, and I actually quoted John Shorthouse in my story.
Exactly.
You probably read my story today, didn't you? Maybe.
Black Press? I don't know if I have yet. I'll check it out after this, Moj.
But
My thing, though,
go
is
ahead.
if this team can get over Winnipeg in the first round, tell me that's not going to do miles for this team's confidence, right?
I 100% wholeheartedly agree with you, and that's what I wrote in my story today. And I quoted Shorthouse, and I said, Winnipeg is a dragon you have to slay. So if you beat Saskatchewan, and now you still got to go to Winnipeg,
Just
right?
like last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's just the same old, okay, here we're going to Winnipeg. But if you play Winnipeg, I mean, you're going to have to beat Winnipeg sooner or later. Let's just get it over with. Let's find out, because I'll tell you what, if you beat Winnipeg in the opening game, the semifinal, you're going into Saskatchewan now like you are on a roll. Like, I'm not going to say Saskatchewan's a given, but you're going to feel great about yourself, you're going to feel great about your team, and you're one game away from getting to the Grey Cup now.
And I'll just add, I know I've gone the other way here, but one thing to keep in mind with the scenario you guys are talking about, what's one sort of drawback you can say of the Blue Bombers maybe? It's their age. They're an old team. They're an older team, I should say. They don't get that first round bye. Maybe that hurts them, right? So maybe that's an angle to think about. But
they're similar though. Like they run the ball really well with these big bruising backs. They got the kind of calculated veteran quarterbacks.
The thing is, there's no quote elite team in the league this year. There's no team that stands out head and shoulders.
I agree
above
with
the
that.
rest.
Yes.
But the one thing that Winnipeg is really good at, if you give them an opening, they will take it and they will make you pay for it. Right? And I'll use the game against Hamilton as an example. The game where there should have been a penalty against Winnipeg. Hamilton should have retained possession, got 3 or 7 and salted the game away. Instead, there wasn't. Hamilton punts the ball away, and now Winnipeg gets the ball back and they march it down and score the points and win the game. Right? That's what Winnipeg does. You turn the ball over to Winnipeg with 3 minutes left, they'll find a way to kick the game-winning field goal. You give them that opening, they will find a way. So that's the key thing against those guys, is that you play disciplined football, you don't turn the ball over, and you just have to clutch up when it matters most.
And very quickly, I looked at this today. If Hamilton hangs on and wins that game in Winnipeg, they're playing in Ottawa for the final spot.
Crazy.
This week. That's how razor thin
Hamilton
would be, yeah. That's how razor thin it's been in a lot of these races.
Well,
right?
other than, and it's funny because I did a show this week and I talked about it, every team has had this super hot streak or a super cold streak, except one. Well, they've had a super cold streak. That's Calgary. They've done nothing all year long. But, I mean, in terms of like Hamilton had their 4 or 5 games. Big Bubba's out there. He's got the Grey Cup parade planned out, right? Bubba O'Neill, right? And then you had Edmonton with their streak. I mean, you look at Saskatchewan, they had a hot streak at the start of the year. They're on a hot streak now again. In the middle, they were 1-7-1. Ottawa was great at the start of the year. The team that I fear out of back east is Toronto.
100%.
That's the team that I look at and go, okay, this is going to be your Grey Cup representative.
That front seven.
Every team has gone through it, and you made a great point. And I know we got a break here, but you figured out the CFL. Remember the little equation you came up with after the game? You told me that.
It hit me, yeah.
Fire away.
So we have the Alouettes number,
Yep.
but Winnipeg has our number,
Yep.
but Toronto was Winnipeg's number,
Yep.
but Montreal has Toronto's number.
Yeah,
and
there
then
you
there's
go.
5 other teams.
So go figure it. Go figure out the CFL. All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, Dwayne Vienneau, the president of the BC Lions, will stop by. We'll talk about the Lions off and on the field this year, and we'll talk about the upcoming Grey Cup game in Vancouver. Again, coming to you tonight from the Highwayman in South Surrey, 1626 152nd, basically 16th Avenue and 152nd in Surrey. Check it out. It's been completely refurbished. It's the old Sawbucks, but guess what? It's absolutely gorgeous in here. Much more coming up. Dwayne Vienneau, he's next. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap. Time now for Countdown to the Cup, presented by the 2024 Grey Cup Festival, right here in Vancouver. Check out greycupfestival.ca for everything you need to know about the 111th Grey Cup. Here again are Matt, Nick, and the Moj.
You are listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. You heard the man, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, along with yours truly, the Moach, Bob Marjanovic, coming to you tonight from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey, 1626 152nd Street, basically 152nd and the corner of 16th. And if you remember the old Starbucks, well, yeah, this is it. It's been completely remodeled.
Sawbucks.
Sawbucks, yeah. Starbucks.
Wrong beverage.
Close enough. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm on a roll. You know what? We were just talking about that in the break. That's what kind of threw me off. Anyway, we're here at Sawbucks. If you're in the neighborhood, you should check this out.
It's like roadkill. Just keep driving.
Just keep
Don't
going.
look
There we
back.
go. Of course, this is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, Lions Audio Network. Thrilled to have the president of your BC Lions stop by tonight, Mr. Dwayne Vienneau. Dwayne, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you on board. I know we will chat with you about the Grey Cup Festival and have a lot of fun with that, but just get your thoughts on the 27-3 win against the Alouettes and the football team in general heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, your first question is it was a very good game. It was nice to see the confidence that that came out, and it was big for the team. I think Bake said it early in the first segment, is that even though it didn't move us in the standings, it was a big game for the team, and going into the playoffs, there's a little bit of momentum here, and excited to see what happens to us.
How excited were you to see the upper deck open and get that support, considering losing 3 or 4 heading into that game?
It was great. We've had such great fan support all year. Every Saturday game at 4:00. We've opened up the upper deck.
That's right.
And it's except for Touchdown Pacific, obviously, because we were in a different city. But our fan support's been great. Those 4:00 starts on Saturdays and Sundays have been just tremendous. It's very it makes our fans very accessible to come and see us, come all in one day, get back to the island, get back to the interior, wherever they're going, and it's been hugely successful. And we're getting around 30,000, a little over 30,000 for those games, and it's been great. I think, I'm not sure, early on, about 3/4 of the way through the season, we were ranked number 2 in overall attendance going into Touchdown Pacific, and now I don't know where we are today, but it's been a huge improvement all year long.
You mentioned Touchdown Pacific. It was an initiative that the team took. Everybody thinks it was a CFL initiative, but for the most part, it was a Lions initiative. Now that you've had a month, I guess almost 2 months now, to reflect back and look at it, what was your assessment of it?
It was a special event. Watching it, I've watched it a couple of times on television, and the vibe coming off of, just watching it on TV and all the clips and everything that we've produced. It was a tight, compact setting where the fans were right on top of the team. The energy was tremendous, and the team played really well, had a great game against Ottawa, and overall a huge success. Whenever you build a stadium from scratch, essentially, and not just a stadium, you convert a baseball field essentially into a football stadium, you're going to have a few bumps and bruises along the way, which we did. But if we ever go back, I think we know how to fix it and tweak it a little bit to make it better.
Now that you have a template,
yeah.
I'm not saying it would be easier to do, because you always want to improve and expand, but you do have a template in place. How tempting is it to do it again next year?
We're taking a hard look at it, Moj, and we, Amar Doman has to be in. Our owner obviously has to want to do it, and people will ask me all the time, did it make financial sense? It doesn't make financial sense. If we're averaging close to 30,000 people at BC Place, and all of a sudden you're selling 14,000 in Victoria, you just, you do the easy math. It's half. And so Amar's got to want to do it, and he wants to do it. He truly believes that it's good for the BC Lions. It's good for the game to, go out and be closer to our fans and be BC Lions and not just the Vancouver Lions.
I was fortunate and honored today to go speak to some high school students, a marketing class, just about our marketing, about our brand. It was very refreshing to engage with a younger demographic like that. And the class had done a project before I came in, and the teacher kept pointing to our $15 kids tickets. A couple of times they mentioned the White Spot family pack, right? First year doing that, yeah. 4 tickets and a gift card for, I think, $99. What was the response overall, you figure, Dwayne, to all of these special promotions to get families and young fans in?
It's huge. You look on like I said off the top here. We open up the upper bowl on Saturdays at 4:00. If you look in the stands and look who's in the stands, it is families. It is younger. It is the 20-somethings having a couple of pops during before they go out at night. It's the diehard fans. We have a very diverse audience that is coming back, and we're growing every year. From 22 to 23, we averaged about 5,000 more fans per game, and we're even growing again this year. We're continuously growing, and we like to say it's cool to be a Lions fan.
One of the things that I unfortunately have to miss, and I'm always jealous when I miss this, I get to be a part of it a bit, but it's these Terry Fox Plaza street parties. The Watermelon Smash, obviously a big one with the gated area with Saskatchewan. The Gravy Bowl you're very involved with. Yeah. Are these two themes that you see kind of being, recurring in years to come here, and even finding more success out of these two in specific?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously the home opener and the concert kickoff that we've done, since Amar's bought the team has been hugely successful. We know that, and last year with 50 Cent and selling out the building was great. But now, after year 2 of the Watermelon Smash, it has become a thing. The league actually, when we're doing our scheduling, and we're in that process right now, they say, we assume you want to do this again. We're saying absolutely. And we did the Gravy Bowl, not even on Thanksgiving. Like, you could do that anytime, but we just had some fun carving those turkeys. But no, we really try to make sure that we want to have fun with the fans and give them something to come for, and have a different theme that really sort of resonates with people, and then come and enjoy the football game as well. So it's double whammy, if you will.
This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW and the Lions Audio Network. It's the Moj, Matt Baker, and Nick Kowalski, along with our guest Lions President Duane Vienneau, coming to you tonight from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey. Dwayne, when Amar took over this team, and obviously you came in after Rick Lalasheur as the president, there was a lot of work to be done, right? I mean, the brand had to be repaired, and with all due respect to the late David Braley, the one thing that I really loved about Amar, right from the get-go, he had a vision, right? I mean, he had a vision of where he wanted this team, where he wanted this brand. Now, and one thing I remember talking to him was about, you don't turn the Queen Mary on a dime, right? Do you feel like you've made significant progress, and you've actually got the ship maybe turned around now, and are starting to make some headway, not only with attendance but also with the brand and corporate partners?
Yeah, everything. We see huge gains, huge strides every year, but we also know that's a lot of work to do, and we don't stop tweaking it every single day and making sure that we're I like to, you just gave a great analogy. I like to say it's like gaining or losing weight. Like, it doesn't happen quick, and you got to really sort of watch what you're doing every day to continue that growth, and we work at it every single day on all aspects of the business.
Bakes and I are laughing as soon as you mentioned gaining and losing weight. So
I know how hard that is.
Not a problem for Kowalski, but for Bakes and I, that
he's just a young kid still.
I'm watching myself on the Coors Lights at times. But
the other thing too is, how do you talk about engaging your fans, and that's the one thing I hear from a lot of people that attend games. Everybody that goes to a game goes, man, I had a fun time. I had a blast. I haven't been to a Lions game in 4 years. How do you, in radio, we used to call them P1s. Those are your hardcores. Those are the people that are going to be there no matter what. And then it's kind of like a donut, and then you go P2s, P3s, P4s. P4s are those people on the outer part of that donut. Yeah. How do you get those P3s and P4s to get back into the building, experience it, and then say, hey, I want to come back?
Well, that's what we do. That's everything that we do. From the event themes that we do per game, we always want to try to give somebody a reason to come outside of the game itself. And so we work on that. Then we also try to make our team as accessible as possible throughout the entire province. And that's those 4 o'clock starts, those buses that we've been doing from the island, going to Victoria, having our training camp in Kamloops. We would really like to do something in Kelowna one day, so really just trying to make ourselves more accessible, give great entertainment, have a great game day entertainment. I give a lot of credit to our team in our business office. We have teams from almost across the league that come to visit us all the time because they say, we got to see what's going on in BC. We hear how great the game day entertainment is, and they want to come and sort of see it so they can take it home to their own stadiums.
going back to the concert kickoff night, the home opener, 50 Cent, a great night, solid win that was. Afterwards, a few of us were out having a couple of Coors Lights, just kind of talking about the day and the experience. And you said something that day. You noticed more Lions merchandise just out in the city before the game even started. How's that process been? Because that was something Amar said the day he bought the team, that he wants to see more merchandise when the game's not on.
Well, the other thing too, and I'll throw this in before you answer, Dwayne. I remember Amar saying that his kids at the time were wearing NFL jerseys.
Right.
He said that's got to change. We got to get the younger generation to start wearing Lions gear, to become Lions fans. So I guess you kind of intertwine both of those, not only the merchandise, but who's buying it and how old they are.
Yeah, so to answer Bake's first question is that game day, I was walking to the stadium, and the one thing I noticed was all the bars and restaurants on the way to the game had come on in, watch the Lions game. I hadn't seen that before since I've been here in Vancouver. So that was really, one of those eye-opening things. And I spent a lot of time in the downtown core now because I now live there. And on game days, you see a lot of Lions branding, but I'm seeing it now every day. And that to me shows that we're growing, and people are proud to wear the swag every day, and it's great.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to get a Grey Cup update. All Grey Cup with Dwayne Vienneau, the president of the BC Lions. We'll talk to him about the upcoming Grey Cup Festival and what's going to happen right here in Vancouver. Of course, we are coming to you tonight from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey, 1626 152nd Street. Basically the old Sawbucks. It's on the corner, 16th and 152nd. Absolutely gorgeous. They've refurbished it the whole 9 yards. On the other side, we'll talk Grey Cup with Lions president Dwayne Vienneau. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap. Time now for Countdown to the Cup, presented by the 2024 Grey Cup Festival right here in Vancouver. Check out greycupfestival.ca for everything you need to know about the 111th Grey Cup. Here again are Matt, Nick, and the Moj.
Oh, I love doing these remotes. Coming to you tonight from the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey, the old Sawbucks, 152nd Street, 16th Avenue. Tons of Lions fans in the house.
It's lively in here
Norm
tonight.
Norm from South Surrey just got into it with us, and we'll talk to Norm later off the air, but we got to settle up with Norm. He's all fired up. It's the Moj, Bob Arjanovich, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski, and of course our guest is Lions president Dwayne Vienneau.
I was going to say, one of our old mentors in the radio business, you have to push buttons.
Oh yeah,
and that's what we're doing.
Articulate the rage of your audience.
Who are we talking about?
David Pratt, TSN, Vancouver. Articulate the rage of your audience. That was his catchphrase.
There you go.
Grey Cup 2024, November 10th through 17th. Of course, it came on the 17th right here in Vancouver, BC. Update.
Oh, it's close. We're around the corner, obviously, but no, we're very excited. We were first awarded a Grey Cup officially a Grey Cup in 22 in Saskatchewan. So it's been 2 long years. The team's been working hard. Riley Witchar, our executive director, and his team are getting ready to go here, and it all really sort of the main event for the festival kicks off on Wednesday. And we have a big kickoff party down at the convention centers, and right, in between the two venues, and we're having a kickoff party and a live concert, and there's some shows in the sky, so to speak, happening. So it's going to be a great day. And
drone show? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. There's a drone show coming. I don't even know if that's officially announced yet, but it is now. And
well, there you go. I let it slip. There you go.
There you go. And then so every day there's a major event. There's the awards on Thursday. There's a big gala dinner on Friday. There's a concert on Saturday. Indoor tailgate, outdoor tailgate, the backyard street party, and a fan march on game day, and then obviously the big game. But there's also the festival that is on the street. The actual zip line started to be built today. So
nice.
we have a zip line that's going over the water between the convention centers, and we have another one going down the street. They're starting the tower builds, and then everything outdoor. Then the whole west is the team rooms, and that's where all the party pass will be, where you can go and it won't be hard to get a pop in there. And then on the East Convention Center is sort of all the family areas. So everything's we're around the corner, and here we come.
You've organized Grey Cups as a member of the Edmonton franchise at the league. You were the Chief Events Officer. Is that the correct title?
Yeah, Chief Grey Cup and Events Officer.
Chief Grey Cup and Events Officer. There you go. What is going to be unique about this one in particular, would you say?
In my opinion, the best Grey Cups are the one that have a very tight and compact footprint. So if everything's very, very close and everything's in the same place, you don't have to tell people if you're going to Grey Cup where you're going. You know where you're going. There's one location to go. And I think the scenery and the beauty of Vancouver, coupled with the proximity, everything being in one location, including all the hotels and very much a walking city. You can walk everywhere downtown. I think just it's going to be very vibrant, entertaining. If it's raining, there's indoor things to do. If it's not raining, there's outdoor things to do, and it's just going to be a action-packed week.
What about you mentioned, Dwayne, the Coors Light Team Party headquarters, so that's where Lions Den takes place. All the team parties, the Schooners have one, right?
Yeah, Schooners, the team that have never lost a game.
They charge $22 a lobster roll.
And they're damn good, yeah.
$22, wow.
Yeah. Can you give any hints to what Lions Den's going to look like this year, though? Because it's always one of the...
Well, it's going to be the biggest room, and, always the host has the biggest room, but... I don't really know all the details, to be honest with you. Carolyn and Cody and the team are sort of working on that. But every single team, including the Edmonton team, which the Spirit of Edmonton isn't always together, and the party pass is all together. The Eastern Social House, the Schooners are there. You basically you can buy an all-event pass that gets you into every room. It's like one cover charge for the weekend. We've already sold, I think, over 3,000 of these things, and they're basically cover charge. Like, it's going to be just a very... very popular place to go, and you can go from team to team and room to room and just experience sort of the culture, if you will, of different markets around the league.
It was funny. I think last year I went to the Riders one, and like Keon Schaefer-Baker was doing like a watermelon eating thing. It's so cool how all the CFLs like united with it.
Well, the big thing about it is, and I can vouch for this, having gone to a couple of Grey Cups here and there, is that, you can walk into a room, you can go into the Tiger Cat's lair or whatever they call that.
Yeah,
and
Tiger Town. Yeah.
And you're going to see like Danny McManus in there, talking with fans. And that's such the cool part about it is it's such an open environment for players just to walk in, ex-players to walk in mainly, and talk with their fans. And, if somebody's up for an award, maybe they stop by the Lions Den afterward. But you get the idea, right? I mean, it's such an informal setting. It's, you're not paying $500 a ticket to mingle with someone. You just go to the Lions Den and, pay whatever.
100%. So having everything in the same space, as an example, we have the awards is on Thursday night. It's already sold out. It's been sold out for a few weeks now. Once that awards is over at 9 o'clock, everyone, the 2,000 people, go into the team rooms. And they just sort of go in there, and that becomes sort of the party for the night. And the same thing happens the next night with the gala. Once the gala is over, everyone sort of just filters to the team rooms after, and so on and so on. So it's really just... There's a lot of events going on, but they're all in the same buildings, and it's very accessible.
And with all due respect...
What about Radio Row, though?
I was just about to say, with all due respect to Hamilton and the job they did,
the
one issue that I had was they had half the people in Niagara Falls for the awards, and, people were staying out there, and it was like two separate footprints.
Yeah, right? The Thursday night was separate.
Whereas, in Vancouver, you're going to have everybody basically under one roof, and like you said, they're just going to walk out 2,000 people. There you go.
And I've done these zip lines. They're all free. All the family programming is free. You can go and the WestJet CFL experience. You can go run a 40 against a player's time, and see how you compare, and all of these activations, including the little mini kids zip line, are all free for anyone that wants to come. So it's really come on down and experience the CFL, get to learn something, meet some players, have a good time, and just enjoy. It's Canada's national. There's not one event larger than Grey Cup on an annual basis.
Before we get to Radio Row, the one thing that I love about the Grey Cup is that you have people coming from all over the country. They're enjoying the week. They're enjoying each other. They're having a fun time. They're wearing their team jerseys. And I don't know if you guys saw there was a clip this week between a idiotic Ravens fan who basically attacked anybody that was wearing a 49er jersey. Person's been charged and such, but you never see that at the Grey Cup. Everyone's just having a great time. If you're a Tiger Cat fan, hey, there's going to be some going-ons between the Argos and the Tiger Cat fans, but you're not going to see these idiots out there because everybody's there just to have a fun time, and that's the one thing that I love about the Grey Cup, and then I've been to, again, a couple of them here and there. It's the fact that it's just everyone's just having a great time, and there's no, how would we put it, hothead / egos or whatever involved.
Moj, I got to tell you, to echo what you're saying, I've ran a few from different levels, and I have never seen a fight.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a fight at a Grey Cup.
I've never seen a fight at a Grey Cup. I've seen a lot of hugging and a lot of people having some beers and having a good time. Not once a fight. You know, the odd time you might have a little maybe slip or something, but there's never been a fight.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
You mentioned Radio Row.
Yeah, you guys are the inventors of Radio Row, so why don't you tell us about it?
Well, you were the one that brought it up. I mean, Mike Whittingham, executive producer extraordinaire. Apparently we're going to have, from what I'm hearing, anywhere from, 8 to a dozen radio stations / podcasts that are going to be.
Mike's given us the thumbs up.
At the convention center, so that'll be another added attraction.
I'm excited about it, you know, and I pointed it back to you, but Mike, that's where Mike and I first met, was when years ago, I think you guys were in Super Bowl and you saw it there, and we wanted to bring it back to Grey Cup, and
started in 2014 here.
Yeah.
In the convention center.
And it's just a great concept. You know, you get the player come through and does interviews with all the different radio stations, and then the next player comes, and it's just a good vibe. And so it hasn't happened, Mike, I don't think since pre-COVID probably. And here we are back at it, so I'm excited about that, and I'm glad for you guys to get rolling on it.
All right, let's get to the big question. If the Lions are in it, this town is going to go nuts. They're going to be on board with the team that's won 2 playoff games. If they're not in it, you might have a faction of fans that probably won't get involved. How do you get those fans on board with the Grey Cup Festival if the Lions are not in it?
You know, so I've had, you know, obviously we want our team in it.
Of course.
It's just what you always want to play in your own Grey Cup and the one that you're hosting, and if you're lucky enough to win it, then that's just really, really, really special, and you know, obviously hoping for that. But if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, my experience tells me that people, to your point a little earlier, where people just coming and wearing their jerseys and having a good time and really sort of wanting to be a part of football, I encourage people, they will do it. It's an experience you've never had before, and we're trying to build this Vancouver Grey Cup a little bit bigger than it's ever been, to be honest, and building these zip lines and doing all these outdoor parties and taking over all the West and the East Convention Center. That's never happened here before.
Can I chime in really quickly to answer that too? My answer would be the Jonas Brothers, Sam Roberts Band, Felix Cartel, all these musical acts.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I mean, you got to make an event big enough that it really doesn't matter who's in the game, right?
It is Canada's largest annual sporting. We're expecting 500,000 people to come to this, including the game, and it's gonna be the place to be.
Now, is there any truth to the rumor that Julio and I are going to do the zip line together, like in tandem? Because we've talked about that.
Well, we can.
Kowalski's going to be with the camera.
You're racing Farhan, that's what I heard.
That's no contest, yeah.
We're putting Neil on it.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, this is great. Thanks, guys. And this has been a great year of the show, and appreciate everything you've done, and looking forward to Nick's trivia coming up here.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thanks, Dwayne.
Dwayne Vienneau, the president of the BC Lions, stopping by again here tonight at the Highwayman Pub in South Surrey, 1626 152nd Street. Again, the old Sawbucks, if you're in the neighborhood, 16th Avenue and 152nd in South Surrey. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, yes, indeed, you heard the man, Nick Kowalski's critically acclaimed, world-famous trivia. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia.
Oh, yeah. World-famous trivia. Nick Kowalski presenting People waiting from this from Coquitlam to Quebec City. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker, the aforementioned Nick Kowalski, and we're going to have some trivia. We're going to have a little help. Norm from South Surrey is going to stop by. Norm, how you doing? Nice to have you on board.
I was sleeping in my bed, but then got the call. Have to come in to help out with BC Line Trivia. So
Call to the bullpen,
He actually sounds like
exactly.
Neil McAvoy, GM of the Lions.
Very, very vaguely, yeah.
Hey, Neil, how you
Go
doing?
Lions. We're here.
You going to help us out with trivia?
Yeah, we're here. I will never miss a Kowalski trivia. Let's
All right.
go.
Fire
Let's get
away.
it
Here we
going.
go, Nick.
All
9
right.
minutes.
All right, so the season's wrapped up, the Lions' regular season I'm talking about. And, God bless the CFL, our Canadian game. One thing we're going to remember from 2024 is Justin McInnis leading the team in receiving yards this year. So straight out of the Lions media guidebook there's 5 main categories: rushing, scoring, receiving, passing, and sacks. These names here that you're all looking at are all Canadians that have led the Lions in these categories at least once.
Brent Johnson, sacks.
So Justin McInnis is receiving. We'll go in order from Moj, Baker, Neil. You guys can pick whatever.
Brent Johnson, sacks.
Brent Johnson is a correct answer for sacks. So they just had to have done it once.
Okay.
They're on this list. Baker?
Scoring.
Can I go next?
Well, you
We'll
just said the order.
Yeah, we got to go in order clockwise. So I
Okay.
can keep this in.
Scoring, Louis Pasaglia.
Correct.
Low-hanging fruit.
Well,
Sean
Thanks,
Millington
Norm.
rushing.
Sean Millington's a correct answer for rushing. He's the second last
I'm
running
going to
back.
go with Nick Hebler, sacks.
Correct. He was the first guy to do it for sacks. Go ahead, Baker.
passing, Nathan Rourke.
Correct. There's 3 Canadian quarterbacks who have done this for the Lions.
No way.
It's in the Lions media guide.
Goes back
Scoring?
a few years.
We got Pasaglia already. Sean White.
Sean White's correct. He did it the last 3 years in a row. He actually did it in 2009 too, believe it or not.
Correct.
So
Greatest kicker of all time. Thanks, Sean.
Me? Is it me?
yeah, go ahead, Moj.
Jim Young, receiving.
Jim Young. I actually kind of want to give you a bonus point, Moj, because Jim Young is the only guy to have led the team in receiving
Thank
and
you.
scoring.
I got bonus point. I'm up one on everyone. I'm going to lap you. Go ahead, Baker.
Rushing, Andrew Harris.
Correct. He's the last running back to do it. Canadian running back.
Winnipeg guy. Ugly. That's terrible, Matt Baker. So it's up to me. Scoring, receiving.
There's passing. There's 3 guys on sacks over there.
Jason Claremont. Is he on this list?
Incorrect.
Oh, -1 for
-1 for the big fellow over there.
So we got 3
Moj.
sacks, 2 quarterbacks. We got 5
quarterbacks.
4
now,
receivers.
Eric Guthrie did not lead the league in passing.
No, sorry, the Lions.
It's the team
Oh,
only.
led the Lions.
Yes.
I'll go with Eric Guthrie.
Eric Guthrie is a correct answer.
I thought it was the league.
Sorry,
so
Lions.
Now I changed the rules also.
No, you said the league. Eric
Sorry,
Guthrie,
Jim.
the
No,
Canadian rifle.
Sorry, Neil. Jason Claremont's not incorrect.
Sacks, Rick Klassen.
Incorrect.
Oh, no.
no. So Moj is 2 up technically, unless Neil can get back one here.
Yeah, scoring. We
got-
got Louis Pasaglia, Sean White.
I think there's a pretty obvious one for scoring here.
Yeah, no kidding. We're going to go Paul McCallum.
Correct.
White
He's
truck.
done it 5 times.
There you go. And there
All right,
it
go
is.
ahead,
That was
Moj.
too easy. Russian, Canadian. I'm going to go with, I don't know if he's a Canadian, but I believe he was. Jim Evanson.
Incorrect.
Or pardon me, Terry Evanson. That's who I meant.
Yeah.
No.
Incorrect.
Thanks.
Jim was the correct name, right?
I think there's some easy
Okay.
sacks ones here, very modern names.
Receiving, Matt Clark.
Incorrect.
He had 1,500 yards one year.
Yeah, what do you got to do to get on this
Yeah.
list? Apparently,
Yeah.
Jesus,
Mac,
hey.
1 sec. Let me fact check here.
No,
You say
no,
he's
no, it's
I
fine.
gotta pull up my laptop here.
So hold on.
I got it behind me, but I think Matt
Larry
Clark's
signs
incorrect.
up. As soon as you got to do that, I don't know.
I have Matt Clark being incorrect.
Passing. How about Pete Oler?
Pete Oler is the last correct answer.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Give
I'm
it to him.
up. I'm up on
Because
everybody.
we're struggling here.
Okay.
Sacks. Like these are like big time. Like after you got
Sacks. Rick Goltz.
No,
Incorrect.
It's not your turn. Okay,
Sean
don't.
White, Paul
Okay, it's
McCallum.
myself here. Scoring, Matt Kellett.
Matt Kellett's correct. Baker,
Yes.
I'm doubling down that Matt Clark is not. on
Okay, I
this
believe you.
list.
All right, Matt
Scoring,
Kellett.
Matt Kellett. There you
Matt
go.
Kellett's the correct answer. I just gotta find it. Okay, we still got a bunch here. Matt Kellett, there you go. So we got 3 sacks. They're all modern.
Damn it.
3 sacks. Canadians.
It's Neil's turn, right?
Yes. Go ahead, Neil.
Who's
5
our,
minutes on the clock.
Who's
2
our
running
kick-
backs.
Who's our kicker with the when we lost in Ottawa?
I'll start giving away some hints. So there's
Richie Leone.
05.
Not Canadian.
One kicker is 05-04. One is 74. One is 72-67.
One is 74.
Yep.
Oh, Jarella.
Yeah, sure.
Second year.
Correct. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, we'll give it that Ted
Roy
Jarrell.
Girella, brother Ted kicked for the Steelers.
Correct. Yeah.
Mojo's
Powell
turn.
River. The other brother was Metro.
Ted Jarrell is the correct answer.
Metro, Ted, and
For
Roy.
scoring.
Yeah.
Running backs.
Moj is up.
Rushing. Wow.
The two
that's
running
the
backs
one.
are 96, 95, 94, 93, and then in 1964.
God, Millington.
Even though Corey Philpott's kids are now Canadian, but he's not Canadian. His kids are.
Corey Philpott's considered Canadian.
No, he's
No, he's
not.
not. No, he's not.
Wrong. Oops.
His kids are.
Wow.
His kids are.
It's Moj's turn.
No, put Jalen Philpott right there. Future BC
Tam-
line.
You know what,
if you
Maya
would've-
culpa.
Tampering,
Hold on,
yeah.
Maya culpa.
Future BC line. I wanted.
Yeah, if you would have drafted him, maybe.
Maya culpa. Philpott.
That's called tampering, by the way. No.
He's off the board. Off the board. There's one more running back from
God, I love the
1964.
Philpott kids.
1964?
I like this
By
running back.
Bailey.
Incorrect.
Norm Fieldgate.
Incorrect.
Brown.
So he's
Brown.
losing now. He's negative.
Yeah, 'cause he
Moj
only is down now.
Scoring, Duncan O'Mahony.
Correct. 05, 04.
yes,
There you
Nicely
go.
done, babe.
You guys are going to
Nicely
kick yourself for these sacks ones. You guys.
Okay, well,
Okay,
Neil-
what era? What era?
After Brent Johnson,
After Brent Johnson,
three
Canadians.
Three Canadians have led the Lions in sacks. Dwayne,
Sorry. Good God.
Dwayne is yelling a very valid
To
answer.
sneeze, a snooge, a chew, a chew.
Can you
Just
hear-
come out with the name. Who is it?
Betts.
Matthew Betts.
Matthew
Oh, my God.
Who is Matthew Betts' buddy?
Detroit
David
Lions.
Menard.
David
Menard.
Oh, David Menard. God bless him. I love him.
Then we got one more Canadian.
Let's work together for the rest
let's
here.
work together.
There's lots of receivers
Yeah.
here, right? What era were the receivers?
Receivers, you got 2012, 2001, and 2000, 80 and 78, and 64.
80 and 78.
Yep.
78. Jim Young.
It's not. It's not
Paris
a-
Jackson.
Paris
Is that
Jackson's-
2012?
He has not led the team in yards because G-Roy did it every single year.
Who was the receiver in 78 that they had?
It's not a.
John Pancratz.
But
Incorrect.
No.
It's not a too well-known name. I don't think.
2012.
All right, let's go. We've got 2 minutes.
2012.
Flip them over. Who do we got? Rushing.
Rushing is Bob Swift. Remember I was bringing
No.
that up?
Oh, yeah.
No clue.
Remember I
Quick.
brought him up in that
No clue.
1964.
Scoring. Who else?
You know what? Why I didn't get that? Because his nickname is Quick. Bob Quick Swift.
All right, what else do we got? Scoring.
Scoring. Peter Kempf.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was the old-timer. And then Ivan McMillan.
Ivan McMillan wasn't Canadian, was he?
1974. I am a
He was
Canadian.
the
yeah.
kicker. He was the kicker before Louis.
I admittedly did not look up Philpott because I just
Receiving.
assumed-
What do you got?
Receiving, Sean Gore did it in
Oh, yeah,
2012.
2012.
Ryan Thelwell
Oh, yeah.
Good
in
Canadian
01
kids.
and 01 and 2000. And then I think Al Jarrett.
No, Sharuk.
Sharuk. That's
Okay.
a 78.
Yeah.
Before you do,
Sonny
what era was the last
Sonny
sack
Homer.
here?
The sacks, the last guy is 2009.
Oh, you
2009.
should know this guy.
Ricky Foley.
Thank
there
you.
we go.
There you go.
There we
Ricky
go.
Foley.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ricky
not
Foley.
bad, though.
God,
Not bad. It was
There you go.
fun.
Thanks to Norm from Surrey for coming on.
Good
Thanks,
BC
Norm.
line.
He held his
Draft
own
pick.
for a while. Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, if my dad was still here, he would love Bob Swift. He loved Bob Swift.
No, hey,
As a-
speaking of
as
your
a guy
dad,
who grew up in BC,
God rest his soul. God
Bob
rest his soul.
Swift.
Tell the story about David Menard.
David Menard is he's a good man. He's still
Love
playing
David
in the
Menard,
league, so
yep.
we're going to have to tell too many stories. But David Menard is an amazing individual, and his English isn't too great. But I tell you what, his sack contributions to the football team are amazing. God bless.
All right, that's it. We are out of here. Matt Baker, very quickly. People want info with the Lions. What's happening with the Grey Cup? How do they go about it?
Well, yeah, GreyCupFestival.ca. We went over it with Dwayne. Great concerts, great events. You, Farhan, and Julio, and Norm are ziplining, I think. Hopefully Norm's busy with the game, but yeah, plenty of great stuff happening. And head to our YouTube channel, Kowalski, Liam, Chang, everybody. Playoffs are coming. That means the content's just going to heat up.
We are so close to 10K. I got to get that in.
All right,
Get us
there
to
you go.
10K.
Get those accounts over 10K. Again, the playoff game will occur on November the 2nd. Of course, we are still to determine whether we go to Regina or whether we go to Winnipeg, but we will keep you abreast of that all the way through. And no, Corey Philpott is not a Canadian. All right, we're out of here. Big thank you to our executive producer on site tonight, Mike Winningham, Nick Kowalski, Matt Baker, and a big thank you to everybody here at the Highwayman in South Surrey. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Do what you got to do. Have fun. Go for it on 3rd and short. Just do us a favor. Be safe.